all illegal. Spin the wheel, then break the seal. Ace support we won't conceal. Feel the truth, you know the deal. They can't silence what we say. We're the voice of the USA. Stand your ground, make them pay. Ace support leads the way. Clouds of lies hanging low. Ace supports truth, let it flow. Shouting loud, every show. Truth in the news they can't control. Fearless warriors in the fray. Flame of freedom, bright as day. Cut through noise, clear the gray. Ace support, we're here to stay. They can't silence what we say. We're the voice of the USA. Stand your ground, make them pay. Ace support leads the way. Clouds of lies hanging low. Ace reports truth, let it blow. Shouting loud, every show. Truth in the news they can't control. They can't silence what we say. We're the voice of the USA. Stand your ground, make them pay. Ace report leads the way. Leads the way, leads the way. Leads the way. Clouds of lies hanging low. Ace away. Leads the way. And here we go.
I don't even think we can keep track of all the things you all are doing. In
Been a
fact,
lot.
I don't even
Been a
think
lot.
the press can keep track of all they're doing. I mean, they talk about the shock and awe strategy. Seriously. So when you're looking at this list after list after list, what stands out to you?
Well, speaking of the press, I do think that we've had maybe more executive orders than CNN has viewers each night. So hello to our friends at CNN. I actually think that their plan was they were going to go all in on anti-Trump and hope that he could save CNN in the same way that he did, frankly, in 2017, because nobody really watched the network until he became president in 2017. But that's maybe the one thing I think the president has been unable to save the CNN's ratings over the last few months. But look, I think that what the president has tried to do is recognize that we have a historical mandate on a few issues. We have to secure the southern border, and thanks to his actions, border crossings are down well over 90%, and we're just getting started. He recognizes that we have to really unlock the engine of American growth. We've got to get back to having a growing economy that creates good jobs and high wages for the American people. And a lot of that goes back to drill, baby, drill. We've done more on energy under President Trump's leadership than I think any administration in history. And that's not an exaggeration. And of course, we're going to do more. And then I think the third thing that he's tried to do, of course, with the help of Elon and all the great folks at Doge, is ask, what are we doing with all of the American taxpayers' money, and why are we wasting so much of it on garbage that the American people either aren't aware that we're spending it on or don't want to be spending it on in the first place?
Right.
Like, for example, the stuff that we've figured out, Mercedes, is unbelievable. Why are we spending money on progressive modern art projects centered around toilets in Afghanistan? That's actually something that your tax dollars were funding until very recently. And I think all of us are sitting around and asking, what the hell have we been doing with the American people's money for the last 4 years? Let's turn off the spigot and spend the American people's tax money on the American people's priority. And that's, of course, been a big focus of the administration, too.
I have a confession to make. I have a man crush on JD Vance. This man is so awesome. This has got to be the best vice president ever. And he's been in a month. I'm just, wow. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the Ace Report. It's good to see you all tonight. I saw some beautiful members and subscribers already in the chat. Love it. Please like and subscribe if you're new. If you're not new, hit the like anyways. Guys, tonight we got a big show. We got a big day, a very big day. KASH Patel was confirmed today, and that, my friends, is got to be one of the biggest things that has happened in this entire movement. Honestly, obviously getting Trump in was the the key, but KASH is the one they most fear out of after Trump getting in. He was the one they fear the most, and he's in now. So massive day. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about justice, how it's coming to America. I believe there's a God-ordained justice coming to America, and this proves it. We're going to go through that, cover the news on that. I'm going to cover more of J.D. Vance's speech at CPAC because it was fantastic. The way our nation is shifting is all over the place. I will not wear black eyeliner. Thank you very much, Dave Mutz. So like, share, subscribe. Let's say hey to everybody, and then we're going to get moving. Frank Anastasio, numero uno tonight. Congrats, my friend. Vinman, turn. Big Sweet, what's up? The one, what to do? Troy Man, David, Shogun, Donkey's here, Barb, Suarez, Patrice, Automax, Candace AC, Kathy, Agent Orange, Danny Gigal, Mike Kemper, Volkovich, CJ Yukon, what's up? Hero at Large, Just Mike. Watching last night's member stream. If you missed last night's member stream, you might want to check it out, especially because we got lots of new members here now. What's up, AJ? Michael Tucker cashing it in. Backcracker Butters, Cantero, Richie Rich. It is truly a great day. Nan Sadek, what's up? Agent Orange. JD's got the best burns, man. Kira, some back with this wrong with the sounds. What are you drinking, IPA, man? That's the question. Mark R, Strayhorn. Diane Carriere says, thank you for the gift of membership. You're welcome, but don't thank me. I didn't give it to you. I'm glad you got it, though. But that was either Alan or Hero or Nate. There was a few people giving, a couple others I can't think of off the top of my head. Lots of people were giving out memberships the last few days. And so thank them. Our membership is now the largest it's ever been because of all these amazing people, which means get in those members' lives and go join the Discord. You do not want to miss it. Epstein list. That's right, Candace. It's coming. Vin, man, I'm like George Costanza falling in love with Elaine's boyfriend. Tony. Tony. Oh, Tony, you're so cool. What's he say? It's like, hey, George, I don't want to just hang out anymore. I just not have it. Oh, Tony, don't say that, Tony. I love that episode. That's a great episode, Vin. Great episode. Oh, thank you for liking the theme song. I'm glad you like it. It's just catchy enough, right? It's a little cheesy, but I'm okay with that. Trader Grows, what's going on? Vin says, think Trump will have the XRP lawsuit dismissed soon. Well, that would be huge news for this chat for sure. I agree. JD will be our next president. Market 8, dude. It's done. I'm seeing it. What's up, Rum Dog? All right, let's get to the news because so much good stuff going on. Mike, this is the worst take ever. Mike just posts, George Costanza still isn't funny. Mike, this is the most wrong take you've ever had. It's a bad hill to die on, sir. It's just not going to work out for you long term. But that's okay because we still love you. And that's how it goes. JD's the man, Johnny. I told you guys. All right. KASH Patel posted today. So KASH was voted in today, did not need the tie-breaking vote, which was kind of surprising because Murkowski and Collins both bailed on him, which makes perfect sense. The surprise was old man McConnell voting yes. Now, it was a very interesting day for McConnell because not only did he vote yes on KASH Patel today, he also announced his retirement from the Senate, making his seat open in 26. That, my friends, is very good news. And it also makes me think there might have been a deal cut behind the scenes. So something to look out for. So KASH immediately, FBI Director KASH Patel, immediately posted after his confirmation, I am honored to be confirmed as the 9th director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Thank you to President Trump and Attorney General Bondi for your unwavering confidence and support. FBI is a storied legacy from the G-men to safeguarding our nation in the wake of 9/11. American people deserve FBI as transparent, accountable, and committed to justice. Keyword. Politicalization of our justice system has eroded public trust. That ends today. My mission as director is clear: let good cops be cops and rebuild trust in the FBI. Working alongside of the men and women of the Bureau and our partners will rebuild the FBI. The American people can be proud of. And to those who seek to harm us, consider this your warning. We will hunt you down in every corner of this planet. Mission first, America always. Let's get to work. Listen. To those who seek to harm Americans, people, he's not just talking about foreigners, okay? What have we consistently heard from Trump and others? It's the enemy within that is the worst enemy. J.D. Vance been saying it, Hegseth, Kash. Those who seek to harm Americans, this is your warning. We will hunt you down every corner of this planet. Does not matter where you are. We're going to hunt you down. That's a shot fired across the bow, my friends. He is coming for them, and they know it. They are so scared of this man. It is unreal. In fact, this is what the Senate Dems did today. I wonder if it's still up. No, they changed it. They had their background up here as Stop Kash. So they were all out trying to get rid of Kash Patel. They delayed his nomination by a week. They pushed it back as far as they possibly could. Didn't matter. He's in. Trump now, guys, is the two no votes for Republicans were Murkowski and Collins, the two traitorous women who aren't really Republicans. They're rhinos at the best. This is a big deal. Right now, Trump he's 100% on his nominees. You can say Gates, but Gates dropped out like 2 days after he was in. He never even went through a process at all. So, and Bondi is just as good, if not better. I love Gates. I love Matt Gates, but I think Bondi might have been the better choice for what is going on. So knowing all that, we now have Bondi in place, Kash is in place, Trump is in place. The entire justice part of our government has now got its leadership and it's ready to rock. This is getting very exciting. Trader grows with the 10 gifted memberships. Thank you, Trader. That's awesome. Danny Goodman, Lee 205. Let's see who else I recognize here. Darren Farmer, Mike Hughes, Radar, and John Day. Been a long time since I've seen you, buddy. Welcome, guys. Welcome into the membership. Thank you so much, Trader. That's an awesome gift. An awesome gift today. So, yeah, the Attorney General of the ATF walked off the job today. I mean, they are completely cleaning house. It's beautiful. Then you downloaded my song and uploaded it to iTunes. That's amazing. So yeah, somebody says primary Murkowski and Collins. We could get away with primarying Murkowski, and Alaska's very red. We could get a hardcore Republican there. Collins is tough. Maine's pretty blue, and getting Collins replaced with another Republican would be tough. So a lot of people are not too keen on primarying her. It's like better the devil you know than the devil you don't, or giving it completely to a Democrat. So that's a tough one with Collins. But Murkowski we could get rid of. KJB, so what is David Ick's issue with Trump? David Ick's a hack. That's his issue. He comes off as a total, I know behind the scenes what's really going on. I'm the great seer of all that happens. I am the guy who will tell you the truth about this deep state and everything evil, blah, blah, blah. And he what he does is he gives you a lot of truth that like sucks you in, and then he gives you narratives. He's controlled opposition is what David Icke is. So I would not be listening to David Icke if I were you. He has no idea. Well, he does have an idea what he's talking about. He's trying to lead you astray is what he is. Praying Medic posted this today. Kash Patel, who knows where the bodies are buried? Now comes the pain. Really exciting. The FBI response to Kash Patel being confirmed. That's all you need to know. They know who's going. I don't actually know if this is parody or not. But that's very funny. So it's worth putting it out there anyways. All right. Here's Pam Bondi talking about what's coming.
Scaring bad guys is something Cash has talked about a lot, and you have when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein and the people who are like predators in this country. Yeah. They've been given a pass, and a lot of Americans think these guys have got a pass for a long time, and maybe even are still being protected right now. Where are we at with the Jeffrey Epstein list, the documents? And Cash has made a lot of public statements about this. Where are we at?
I was briefed on that yesterday. I can't talk about that publicly, but President Trump has given a very strong directive, and that's going to be followed.
Wow. Okay. So
a lot of documents.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So people can expect actual movement on this. It's not just empty promises.
Oh, Donald Trump doesn't make empty promises.
Yeah, right.
I think promises made, promises kept, and that's why we're all there to carry out his directive about making America safe and prosperous.
Scaring bad guys is something Cash has talked about a lot.
Pam Bondi, getting ready for this Cash confirmation, has been briefed on the Epstein list. They've been preparing it, and very interesting. She says Trump gave a strong directive, lot of documents. Cash said he'd release on day one. Tomorrow's day one. We'll see. Obviously, sometimes they say stuff like that, and what they really mean is we are pushing to get it done day one. And obviously, sometimes it's very difficult for them to get it done day one. But Bondi and Cash now, and Bondi's attributing it to Trump. We're going to get that Epstein list soon, guys. And I think after that, it'll be Diddy. It's just going to keep going. Are you guys ready? I think the deep state, I think the Democratic Party and the rhinos are quaking right now. It is getting very interesting. Justice, folks. Justice is coming into our nation. That is a theme right now. You can just feel it in the air. And it's not just Pam Bondi and Cash. It's also Kristi Noem here over in HHS. I'm not HHS, Homeland Security, helping fight that border with Tom Homan. Here's a message she had today.
I was just going through some of the folks that we've pulled off the streets to deport out of this country because of President Trump's focus on making America safe again. Here we have a guy named Gonzalez who's been convicted of sodomy of children less than 13 years of age. He has been sentenced to prison, but he is out of our country now, thanks to President Trump. Another guy here who is arrested and has been removed, but he was convicted for possession of distributing child porn. So this guy was distributing that throughout the country, illegal alien, gone from our country now. Here we have a Chinese national convicted of murder, now is gone, a citizen of China that came here and was convicted of killing people in this country that are gone thanks to President Trump. Thank you to all the brave men and women that are out there deporting these illegal criminals. They get up every day to do it and are making our communities safer. I was just going
left and right, guys. Justice, justice, justice. And it's amazing. I mean, we can feel safer now. We can know that things are being taken care of. The adults are back in charge. Criminals are actually being gone after. The FBI is a big deal too for this channel, especially because all the stock people, like we've been fighting and calling out the manipulation in the stock market now for years. Guys, the FBI is our enforcement for that. The FBI is in charge of carrying out. The SEC enforces it civilly. The FBI is here to enforce it criminally. And so even if the SEC is not doing their job, the FBI can go after these guys criminally. So there is so much riding on Cash getting in right now and everybody being in place. We have our border taken care of, which is the foreigners. We have the Justice Department. It's getting really, it's getting exciting. It's getting exciting. I feel like personally, this has to happen first, right? I know everybody wants the purging. I do too. The Doge stuff, all of it. I want the economy fixed, all of that. But this is the main mandate of the executive branch when they come in. The main mandate is justice, overseeing law and order in the country and abroad. And in 1 month, We've gotten this entire team in. The border crossings are down over 90%. It's incredible what we're seeing. And I do think, again, I say this word a lot, but I say it because I really believe it. It's a miracle. We are witnessing a modern day miracle as this government comes in and changes everything. And these people that are in place are just, they're true believers. They're good people and they're vetted. I mean, this team is amazing. Contrast this to the team we got in the first term. Okay. It's night and day. I've forgotten half the people that were in the first term because they were terrible. They weren't memorable. And now every single person I can name, I have attachment to. You can see what they do. They have a track record of getting stuff done, and they're already doing it. It's amazing. And by the way, there's one other thing with KASH PATEL that most people aren't talking about, because everybody's hung up on him being a cabinet, which makes sense, you know. And when you're a cabinet person, and you got you can be gone by the next cabinet, right? So 4 years. The FBI director is independent of that. The FBI director, as of today, KASH PATEL started a 10-year independent term where technically the next president could fire him, but he'd have to jump through hoops and he could go through a lot of stuff to do that. Like Trump got Comey to resign, but he didn't technically fire him. And then Chris Wray resigned on his own. So that's why we've had so many FBI directors back to back to back. But officially, the FBI director gets 10 years. So KASH, we could have KASH for a decade running the biggest justice enforcement arm of our country, which is a big freaking deal. And another reason why Democrats were quaking. Dave Munn says ace for president 2036. We'll see. We'll see. I highly doubt it, though. I highly doubt it. Brett says that reporters should be asking about the Epstein list and asking them if they can throw in the duty list. You mean the Diddy list on top of that? Oh, yeah, I agree. I think it's coming. I do think it's coming. Yeah, the Tom Hanks thing is very interesting. Running off to the Greek. You love my theme song? Thank you, Kiss Off. I can't tell you who sings it because I actually created it. I created it myself. I did not pay somebody for that. Vinman, Megyn Kelly suggests people may soon hear from the late pedophile Jeffrey Epstein directly. Really? Now, if Megyn Kelly's saying something like that, I think what she means is there must be tapes. I'm guessing there's going to be tapes. If he's alive, that would be wild. Pizza Rules says, do I have, this is a great question, by the way. Pizza Rules asks, first of all, let me acknowledge Alan Krentz with 5 more memberships. Alan keeps the ball rolling. Kiss Off is now in. Hector Pastrama, Big Orange, a couple old schoolers there. I love it. Thank you, Alan. Pizza Rules asks, do I have any family or extended family members that feel the opposite of me politically? If so, do I ignore the issue when such families are around? That's a fantastic question, Pizza. Yes, the answer is yes. My sister is a lesbian in a lesbian relationship, and she is moderate Democrat at the nicest. My other sister, whose husband's in the military, they would consider themselves moderate Democrats as well. So that's my immediate family. We talk politics very little, but it does occasionally come up, and we were raised in a family where you talk politics and you learn to talk respectfully with each other. But we do focus more on what we agree on than what we don't. They're not crazy. They're not crazy people like most liberals, but they are definitely a little wary of the Trump MAGA side of things. And then I also have an uncle who's hardcore left wing. And then I have a lot of moderate Democrats in my family on when you get to the uncles and aunts. My grandpa is very politically conservative. My parents were very politically conservative. And so, yeah, it's a mix mash. I will say there's very few crazies in my family, and the crazies are they're on the outskirts. Like, we don't really talk. It's like extended cousins and stuff. But not anybody I'm close to. So there you are. Oh, actually, there's one. My sister's, my brother-in-law's sister, who I obviously know because she married into their family. She's crazy. So there's that. But yeah, we don't talk many politics. We have a few times it's gotten heated, but we mostly stay very respectful. What's up, Big JR? Crazy stuff in GTI, huh, buddy? All right. Okay, let's keep moving. Crazy, you right? Yeah, right. What's up, Scarpaza? Gerald asks, where does Trump find these women at? You know what? I know they're beautiful and they're also very smart, and I get all that. And I have this theory that I think actually most women are capable of being beautiful, like very beautiful, if they take care of themselves and are healthy minded and stuff. And I think in general, I mean, this is proven, liberal women have more mental disorders. They do. And I think it's because of their beliefs and where they go and stuff. And so I think they just kind of fall apart. I really do. And I think that this is just, but also some of them have money and they touch themselves up stuff. So yeah, I think that's why Trump finds all these people. Anyways. All right, let's keep moving. A couple more things on KASH before I move on the whole justice side of things. Clint Russell, very notable libertarian, big in the libertarian sphere, voted for Trump, convinced to vote for Trump, says, make no mistake, dozens of Republicans wanted to go against Trump's cabinet picks simply because their donors fear KASH, Tulsi and RFK Jr. They didn't do so because you made it known this would be a political death sentence. You got them confirmed. Well done. I wanted to share that because it's important to know that this is our victory. All right. We got Trump in by not leaving him behind, by speaking our minds, and by realizing that we were in a different moment in history and the old ways of doing things were not enough. So we did that. We, MAGA, our movement, we, through X, through YouTube, through making our voices known, we put the pressure on the senators that forced them to get this done. These guys squeaked by, people. Most cabinets get voted in pretty easily, even Republican ones. Democrats usually get like 90 votes plus because Republicans have had no spine in the past. But Republicans, even their picks will still get through 70 votes, 65. Trump had some squeakers here. Couple winners that got in with 51, 52 votes. And then, of course, Hegseth was 50-50. JD had to break the tie. So we did this, folks. We did this because the Republicans would have failed us if they weren't terrified of losing it. And so, again, just remember, everything you guys post, share, it matters because it adds up. And that's the thing that you got to remember, that even if you feel like you're this small fish in a giant pond, your voice matters because it's all our voices rising together. One of the reasons I show up and do this show every stinking night, even though it's like, I don't have a ton of viewers. I have a couple thousand regulars, and then I have 5,000 total subs, and I have 100 to 200 on most nights that show up. It's something, but it's not crazy big. I'm not Tim Pool. I'm not Steven Crowder. I don't have these huge audiences, but it's still worth showing up because the voices all together, they matter. They matter. And we did it. And I want you guys to always remember, you matter. Your voice matters. Even, you don't have to do what I do, but it matters. Every single one of you has something to say and has something to add to it. And so, whether your posts get likes or views or anything, you put it out there and all of a sudden it becomes part of a tidal wave. And every single person, it's just like voting. When somebody says my vote doesn't matter, that drives me nuts because every vote matters because they all matter together. If everybody thinks that, then nobody votes. And it's the same thing. We matter, and more than ever, we're learning that. How many people last year thought the election was going to be stolen no matter what they did? Really felt like our vote didn't matter after 2020. And yet we still showed up and we said, we refuse to go down. We refuse to go down. We are going to, even if it's stolen, we're going to show up and go down with a fight. And we won. We won huge. And that's because we did it together. So just don't forget that. It matters so much, all of you. It really does. There's a nationwide cheers today when KASH was confirmed. I think that's true. Alan says, I'm trying to apply for USAID. They keep saying no way because you're supporting Trump. I love that. That's hilarious. Let's see here. What's up, Andy Dan? We winning, baby. We winning. Johnny says, worried Vance wasn't even there. I guarantee you he knew. I guarantee you they knew. They would not have gone into this vote not knowing it was secure. And again, I think a deal was struck with McConnell, or they just threatened him. We're like, look, bro, you get out of here or we will expose you. Because on the same day McConnell announced his retirement, he also voted for Cash. That's how it works. Maxine Waters looks like a ancient turtle lost his shell. That's hilarious. All right. Please like and subscribe. Thank you guys. If you're wondering, if you want to jump in the chat is for subscribers only. But as soon as you hit subscribe, you can jump in the chat. So thank you, Mike. I don't have quantity. I got quality. I'll take it. I don't know. That's something you might have to ask my wife about. Oh, man. Brett says the 2026 election is going to matter too. It's going to be just as important. I agree with you. It won't be just as important, but it'll be 85, 90% as important. The reason is we get Trump for 4 years. That was the most important thing. We did that. But yes, in the midterms, trust me, I'll be doing a lot of content on it because we have to vote and keep and maybe even increase our gains in Congress. So yeah, I know, Jim. They don't understand. And it's one of those things where the people who are still voting Democrat can't be explained away. They just have to be shown. And you just got to pray they wake up someday. I agree with you, Apollyon. I agree with you. All right. I want to share this real quick too. And this is my heart coming out. My spirituality, my belief in God and Jesus comes out because I really believe what's happening right now is a spiritual movement as much as it's a political movement. I believe God is orchestrating a lot of this, and it's not just because he decided to do it out of nowhere. It's because he wants to, he's answering the prayers of his people over years and decades. And that's what's happening. And we're watching it in real time. It's a true miracle. It's very biblical what's happening right now, this change of our nation. And so Lance Wallno posted this today, and I wanted to share it because it's so true. He's right on it. I'm not going to play the clip. I'm just going to read it. But he says, God's doing something new. When the enemy tried to take Trump out, God flipped the script. The bullet that should have shattered his skull was miraculously diverted, a prophetic act signaling a shift in America. I love that. Signaling a shift in America. Young men broke free from the spirit of Jezebel, which that's that feminist spirit, that feminizing of men. If you notice, masculinity is becoming cool again. I got more on that later, but it really is. Young men are being awoken, and it's amazing. We are going to be a masculine. I think we're going to have the most masculine decade coming up that we've had since the 80s. Rambo is back, baby. We're bringing the Rambo decade back. Says the attack backfired, awakened a generation. A fresh boldness swept over America, calling men to rise up in strength. I completely agree with this. And women too. But men are important because men have been kept down in spirit for decades now. Okay. Whereas women, in some of the ways they've risen up, it's been very good. Some of the ways it's been overbearing and hurtful in general to our nation. And that's for a purpose, because men are supposed to be strong in a way that makes stuff happen when, we're the defenders, and we needed to have that reawaken. It says this is bigger than politics. It's about God's kingdom advancing and taking down strongholds, suppressing a generation. That is flat out 100% correct. And that's also why I believe we're entering a golden age. And this is not the beginning of the end, as so many say. And I think it is nonsense. And they could not be more wrong. This is the beginning of a new beginning of something that's going to be long-term, exciting, and better than we've ever experienced. Hero Large with a $10 donation super chat. Thank you, Hero. He says so much winning. Amen, brother. And thank you so much for the donation. Guys, if you do want to support the channel, the super chats are awesome. They really mean a lot. And then again, people giving memberships is awesome too. It brings more people into the fold, into the members' lives and the Discord. So if you want to give in any way, those are great ways to do it. And thank you guys so much for your support. It really means the world to me, and it does make it so I can do this more than just a couple times a week. It frees me up. So thank you for that. It means a lot. Matt says something happened today with the SEC and Trump. What happened is today, Trump signed an executive order, I think it was actually yesterday, where he brought the SEC, FINRA, and another agency, I can't remember off the top of my head, he brought them in, and so they're no longer completely independent, and now they sit under the Office of Management and Budget, the OMB office. So he brought them under that, and he basically took them from being completely independent to being sucked in, and now he technically, as president, now is the complete oversight of the SEC. And Russ Vought would be the oversight next after Trump. So it's really good. It's really good that he did that. It's exciting. Hoping Trump can champion the cause of congressional term limits. Now, just remember, guys, and I agree with you, there's so much we want to see happen. Everything that has to be happen through Congress is going to be tough. Just remember that. But what can happen in the meantime? He can bring justice, which can clean up our elections, which can bring in a bigger Congress later and really get some of this bigger stuff done, like term limits, like maybe abolishing the IRS and income tax. That stuff cannot be done by Trump by himself. It has to be done with Congress. My belief is this first 4 years, Trump's going to get done more than we think. He might not get done everything we want, though, and we got to be okay with that, as long as it sets the stage for continued growth in this movement over the next 4 more years, 8 years, however long. And if he does that, if JD Vance, say if Trump clears the deck and just drains the swamp mostly and brings justice to the land, cleans up our elections, all that, and then JD Vance rides in on a new wave with a booming economy, people very happy, a thriving nation, and with him a bigger Congress, then we might see term limits. We just can't think this is all going to get done in 2 to 4 years. If it does, great, we'd be excited about it, but it might not, it might take longer, but I believe there's a plan for that. I really do. I believe JD Vance is going to be like the Solomon to David and going to bring in amazing things even after Trump's gone, but it'll be all part of the same deal. Okay. Does that make sense? Yes. Democrats are very afraid of Elon. Jim Boswell says many lefties interpret the Bible differently. I know. I've been in the Bible my whole life, and even I interpret some things differently than I used to. It's about growth. But I tell you what, most people I know, well, I got to be careful how I say this. I know a lot of very spiritual people who quote Bible verses, but never have studied the Bible or history. And so they don't really understand it. I know a lot of people who really study the Bible and have no relationship with God, and their interpretation is very wrong. You have to have both. You have to be walking with God, have a personal relationship with him, and do the work if you really want to understand the Bible. And I've done that work. I've spent 40 years, well, not 40 years. I was very young. I'm 41. I've spent 30 plus years doing that. Since I was a young kid, I got into the Bible. I love it. And so I could just tell you, we all grow, but, and I'm still going to grow. God's word's infinite in its wisdom. So I'll still learn more, but there's a lot of unlearned. I could tell you that most stuff that's taught in mainstream Christianity in America and in the West is it's misunderstanding a lot. I'll put it that way. Yeah, I heard about that 0 Day show, JR. See, you guys keep throwing stuff at me and I love it, but I also I'm like, I can't touch everything. There's so much news going on. It's unbelievable. I'm trying to see, like, I even what in pickle. I've even jumped through some of your guys. I can't stay away from the 700 wives. Yeah, we're not going there. We're not going back there. Apollyon, that is a good point. And you also got to look at the context of the history it's written too. So we're getting 5K next year. Great question. Okay. Before I move on to other news, because I do have more, I want to address that actually, because I'm going to go into a whole new segment next. So let's talk about the 5K real quick. I did talk about it. It was either last night in the members live or it was the night before, but, so I'll do this quick. The 5K thing, there's a lot of people who are like, this is not Republican. This is not cutting the deficit. This is terrible. These are socialist, blah, 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 blah. It's nonsense. Okay. It's actually very genius. And let me tell you why. The only way they do those 5K checks, okay, it's contingent. It's contingent upon them finding $2 trillion of savings. if they find 2 trillion of savings, we've basically balanced the budget. So what they're saying is, if we balance the budget because we found fraud, we'll send you guys back some. And what they're doing is going to send 20% back, which is 400 billion. That's a lot, but it's money that's already been appropriated. So you can't look at it as they're sending out 400 billion. You need to look at it as we're still saving 1.6 trillion. So that's number one, because that's already in where we're going right now with our continuing resolutions, the way the budget's been. So we'd still be saving 1.6 trillion, and that 5,000 is only going to be for tax-paying households. So households that pay no tax don't get a check. All right. So the freeloaders, a lot of the poor people, and honestly, yeah, they might need that little bump, but at the same time, this is a refund for fraud. It's not a stimulus check. Next, that stimulus, because it will be stimulus, whether it's called that or not, will influx the economy maybe through a tough period. It'll go straight into because it'll be in people's hands. This is not going to any organizations or states. Okay, so that's the next thing. The other thing people don't mention when they say this big socialist program, blah, 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 blah. No, do you understand that if we cut 2 trillion in debt, that's not just for 1 year, that's for every year going forward. What they would do is they would completely solve our ongoing debt problem immediately, and they'd send us a one-time little bonus for it. It's genius, and there's really no downside. Okay, and so when you put it in the whole context, because it's like, we're not just saving 1.6 trillion if we get that 400 billion. No, we're saving 2 trillion the next year, and 2 trillion the next year, and 2 trillion the next year, and 2 trillion the next year. So we could be saving $20 trillion, and yeah, we get a 5K check out of it. Okay, once for 1 year. So it's so short-sighted how people talk about this stuff, and it drives me nuts. It pisses me off, honestly, because people just don't think. And I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about the people bashing this on Twitter and stuff. But if you think about it, there's nothing bad about this at all. In fact, it accomplishes some really amazing things. A, it will stimulate the economy slightly. B, it'll bring back a lot of trust in the people for what's going on. And C, it could provide a major boost for the midterms. So all those things are very good things for what we want accomplished. Agent Orange with 10 memberships. My God, man, you guys are so stinking awesome right now. I'm so floored by this. I recognize Rich Ireland, a genie in a bottle, and I don't recognize the other. So welcome to the membership. Welcome to the channel. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you so much. And go check out the members' lives. I really appreciate it, guys. Yeah, no inflation from taking back money and giving it back. That's 100% true. It is our money. And so that's why I have no problem with it. Exactly. It's not 5K per taxpayer, it's per household. So there's 78 million households who pay taxes. They would each get 5K back, and that's 400 billion. Okay. So that's how it works. And that's just not that big. Okay. Vinman predicted Trump would give us money back 10 days ago. I think I was close to you too, Vin, because I said it as soon as they said something on Fox News. I said, this tells me that it's being talked about somewhere. So yeah. All right. Let's move on to a new section. So Justice is here, Kash Patel, Bondi, Epstein, God, what God's doing, all good stuff. All right. Let's move on, because I want to talk about just how impressive this man is and what he's saying, and also what it shows about the new leadership we have, because I do believe this will be our next president. So I'm going to let him talk, and then we'll talk about it.
I think the most important thing that we can do, and as you know, Mercedes, I'm very pro-life, I'm a devout Christian, is that we have got to persuade our fellow Americans, because now we've got the power. We've got the power of persuasion. We've got to persuade our fellow citizens that unborn life is worthy of protecting. It is sacred in the eyes of God, and it should be sacred in the eyes of man too. And we have to pick up the torch and fight for that every single day. And I know you guys are up for the task. I am too. And I think on the administration side, what the president has said, and it's been consistent, it's going to be consistent in the rhetoric and in the policy, is we believe in the Trump administration that babies are good, that families are good, and we want to make it easier for young moms and young dads to choose life, to start and to bring new life into the world. That's the whole point of our policy. Now, Now, some of that, of course, is supporting our great crisis pregnancy centers at the moment of these important healthcare decisions, encouraging young women to choose life at that important moment of choice. Some of that is bringing costs down so that, young moms and dads don't look to the future and a new baby and say, how can I afford this? And if they're able to actually afford to raise a family, maybe they'll start thinking of babies as the blessings that we all know that they are.
Yeah.
And I think, but I think fundamentally, this is going to take a lot of leadership from the president on down, but from every single person in this room. We've got to persuade our fellow citizens to stop thinking about babies as inconveniences to be discarded. We've got to start thinking of them as blessings to cherish. And that's exactly what I promise to do.
Wow. That's just so powerful. Guys, I cannot stress, obviously Trump loves his kids and grandkids too. You always see him there. We're seeing a completely new thing in so many ways. And I know it's so easy to get amped about the justice and amped about the economy and amped about, the wars ending, and all that stuff deserves the excitement. It deserves our celebration that this is all happening. But something that is so stinking important is, and this is just not talked about enough, it's that we have gone from people who literally celebrate death, who literally celebrate selfishness and narcissism, to a complete takeover by family people who believe in planning for the next generation, who don't believe humanity is evil, and that we should all just die because of climate change. The earth is more important. No, these are God-fearing people who believe humans are special and we are created and we are beautiful creatures. And even if you're not a Christian and don't subscribe to that theory, whatever, it's better this way. And let me tell you why it's better this way, because these people have a value for humanity and they have a value for our most precious commodity, which is children. And that means something. That means they will be thinking about the future. They will be thinking about building a country that is here for our children and our next, and their children, the grandchildren, and the grandchildren after that. They are thinking about that because they believe in generations. They believe that it's important. And this is a very important point, because the last administration, the Obama administration, and however long you want to go back, and on the Democratic side, and then yes, a lot of Republican side too, they believed in death. They believed in doing whatever you need to do what makes you feel good. It was all about the now. And they would have been completely okay. And our birth rates are down, which means our country's in a lot of trouble unless we turn that around fast. It's time to celebrate family again. And this administration is the most pro-family of my lifetime. It's like, and even George Bush, one of the things I liked about him, he was very pro-life. He got some great justices on the Supreme Court. But it hasn't been since Reagan we've had an administration that celebrated family like this. And this is so important. And I got to say this, as a believer, I got to tell you, whether you believe, I understand some people who believe in exceptions and abortion should be legal for those exceptions. That's fine. I'm not going to argue with you. Okay. But the heart of a person, even if they believe in those exceptions, still needs to be towards life if you want to walk under God's blessings. It's just the way it is. And we now, our nation, our leadership now walks in life, celebrates life, wants to understand that it's not about us. It's about them. It's about something bigger than us. And by doing that, by believing that, everything changes. Okay. One of the worst things I think has started these days is this whole DINK culture, which is dual income new kids. They're the most selfish people I've ever seen when they do their content. And so this is just such a shift, and it's very important. And again, this man is my age. I think he's younger than me. I think JD Vance is only 40. He's a year younger than me. And this is a man I believe is going to keep carrying on this legacy and building anew. And so he went on more. And I just wanted to play these clips. I got 2 more clips of him, this one and the next one, because this is a culture shift, which is actually more important than the political shift, because a culture shift is what's going to change. This culture shift, this leadership, this is what our children are now going to be looking up to and learning from, who they're going to be studying. And so that will carry on. This is true leadership, and this is how things change. We do go the way of our leaders often. It's the culture. As culture shifts, people shift. That puts in the leadership, but then the leadership also, it's just this like circle. It just keeps perpetuating the culture, or it can change the culture. And we have people bold enough to change the culture. So here's another awesome clip from JD.
My message to young men is, don't allow this broken culture to send you a message that you're a bad person because you're a man, because you like to tell a joke, because you like to have a beer with your friends, or because you're competitive. It's our message, the cultural message, and I think the president's and mine is the exact opposite, but our cultural message is, I think that it wants to turn everybody, into, whether male or female, into androgynous idiots who think the same, talk the same, and act the same. We actually think God made male and female for a purpose, and we want you guys to thrive as young men and as young women, and we're going to help with our public policy to make it possible to do that. My message to young men.
It's officially cool to be a man again. I think that's great. And honestly, women, it's great too, because you guys, trust me, women, you guys, be honest. You want a confident man, right? You want a real man. You don't want little baby soy boy, right? I know it's true. This is awesome. This is just so good. Again, this is the change of culture. This is what's so important. And Trump is like I love Trump. He's my favorite. But he does not articulate culture as well as JD does. And so JD's taken what Trump started, and he's going to make it more accessible in many ways, and which will also give it a longer lasting legacy culture-wise, which is just why he's so important. USA scored again? Yeah, baby. Let's go USA. I love it. Bring back the carburetor. I eat carburetors for breakfast. You know what? My sound's better tonight. I know it's on the different system. By the way, Vin Man, I just want you to know you are, if you want to hold the responsibility, I believe I felt as I was watching this and just reading your tweets or your chat, I felt like I was supposed to upgrade you to a moderator tonight as well. So you have now joined Brett, Eric, and Busy as my moderators. So congratulations, Vin. You've been here from the beginning, man. You are just so reliable, and I trust your judgment in the chat. So congrats to you. Anyways, Brett, you reminded me of something. So forgive me, but this has to happen. Oh no. Well, I'm sad. I was supposed to have the man vid queued up, but I guess I lost the link. Dang it. I still had it in my back pocket, but it's been a while since I was going to play the Kamala Man commercial. I'll have to find it and bring it back, because you're right. We need to bring back the carburetor eaters just to remember be reminded of what we were safe from, because it's terrible. Jim Belswell writes that many young couples can't afford to have children. Jim, that's not true. It feels true, and we teach people that's true, but the reason they can't, quote unquote, afford to have children is because they're not in community anymore. If we get back to community, they can. And I can tell you, because I've lived it. I have 6 kids. We had our first 3 kids. I was making less than $30,000 a year. Okay. I was struggling to get by. It was the early days of the great financial crisis. It's very hard to make good money at a young age. And yet we kept having our kids and we were fine. God provided. We found a great place where rent was way lower than it should have been. That was God providing. I made enough to feed us, to pay our bills, housing. People gave us cars, like not nice cars, they're old cars, but people would give us I was given 2 different cars and God provides. There's no excuse not to have children if you're ready and you're willing to work. I'm sorry. Money should never be the reason you don't have children. That is putting money before the more important thing. Money is on earth to serve us. We don't serve money. I will never let money be the decider of a decision like that. And God's blessed me for it. And in Psalm 37, it says, I've never seen a person following the Lord whose kids have gone wanting for food. And I believe that, and I've seen it true. So I just don't ever subscribe to that belief that people can't afford children. No, it's our plans and our fear that can't afford children. If you can't afford a kid because you're not making enough money, it's BS. It's just fear is what it is. You're afraid. I'm not talking about you. I'm saying in general, it's fear. Daycare costs are only an issue if you both work. I believe a parent should stay home, male or female. I do. I believe one of them should stay home when the kids are young. And you know what? I made it happen making less than 30 grand a year. So nobody can give me an excuse for that. And I did it without government help, except for the only help we had was the government paid for the healthcare of my wife when she was pregnant and our kids. And that's it. And that's it. A couple seasons that were really tough. Like when I lost a job, we'd be on food stamps for a couple months. That was it. We weren't Section 8, anything like that. And we got right off it. So God provides. If you're in community, you can make it work. But see, it's selfishness to both work. It is. It's like you're not putting the kids first. And if you put your kids first and build a family first, God will bring everything else to you. And that's just, I've seen it. And so nobody can convince me otherwise. Michael Tucker says, wonder what would happen if Reagan had chosen a better VP than Bush. Someone strong. I know, you're right. Bush was a terrible choice, and Reagan only chose him because he needed him to get the Rhino Republicans, just like when Trump picked Pence. And he picked Pence, and guess what? We learned our lesson. But thank God, I thank God now that Trump did not get in 2020. Because if he had gotten in 2020, we would still have Mike Pence, and we wouldn't have brought around the next generation, which is this man who's going to lead us in the next generation. And I'm throwing it out there. Like I think it's very possible he could become a better president than Trump. And that's saying a lot. I know that's saying a lot. I know. Let's see. Children are a blessing from God. Absolutely. Fernando says, I believe teaching kids at high school level about the consequences of sleeping around with no responsibility is the wrong way to start a future. Oh yeah, 100%. It's terrible. Sleeping around with no responsibility. Yeah. I agree. A lot of people are way too selfish to have kids. Yeah. Could destroy parents. What could destroy parents, Diamond? Having kids? LA is insane between private schools. It's 30K a year. Listen, here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. If there's a will, there's a way. And I hate excuses. I don't make any excuses in my life for anything anymore. If something's not working out, it's because I need to get better, or it's just something I just don't need to do. Okay. But children don't fall into that don't need to do category. I believe children are a responsibility. I think everybody has a responsibility to try and have children. I really do. In a marriage, I do. I think that's God's first commission to us. Okay. So be fruitful and multiply. I believe it's a responsibility. And I believe it's will be blessed if you do. The promises are all over the Bible, and I've seen it. And it's also the most gratifying, amazing thing you'll ever do. Ever do. Every parent here will agree with that. And so I'll tell you, everybody can make excuses, but excuses are never good enough to not have a kid if you're married in a happy relationship. It's just, there's no good excuse. There's no good excuse. We need good parents to have babies. Do you care about the future of our country? Have babies. We need good parents to raise good kids. And you could say private schools are expensive. I get it. Figure it out. Get a figure out how to make side money. You know, you have time. Your kid's not going to need that for 5-6 years. You got time to figure it out. All right. Homeschool. We homeschooled. It was amazing for us. Do not make excuses. Excuses are for the weak. They are for the weak. And there's no good excuse. Once you're married in a good relationship, there's no good excuse to not have kids. It's just not. I'm sorry. And like, I know that pisses people off because they're mad and they want to hold on to their excuses and they want to have all the reasons. They want to keep their cush little life. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, not sorry. I'm always going to tell it like it is. And that's how it is. So Thomas, that's a big stretch right there that you're making up right there. Having children gave me more purpose than anything else. It gave me a better focus in life. Absolutely. So, all right, here's one more thing from JD, which is just another reason I love this man, but this is just a great answer.
First is, I believe like the fundamental tenet of the Christian faith, it's not just a set of good moral principles, though it is that. I think the fundamental tenet of our faith is that the Son of God became man, he died, and then he raised himself from the dead. That is the fundamental tenet of the Christian faith, and I think so much flows from that. And I think one
real quick, listen, there's a lot of there's a lot of Democrats who claim to be Christian, and they will never make that statement that JD just did. That's the true statement of a real believer. If somebody actually has a relationship with God, is making the statement about Jesus. So I'm just saying, like, that's a big freaking deal that JD's out there making that statement. That's the strongest statement of faith he just made of any president of my lifetime, including Reagan. And so again, this man is he's bold and he's just rooted in everything I want to see in a leader. And the faith obviously is a big one.
Lesson that flows from that is that we shouldn't fear death. Of course, death is a very bad thing, but there are much more terrible things than just losing one's life, and importantly, you could lose one's soul. And I think whether it's fighting for the unborn or fighting for peace and security for our citizens, I want us to be the kind of society where my kids can grow up to be virtuous young people, can be good young Christians, of course, because that's what I'm trying to raise them to be. And that's what our public policy is trying to do. Creating the space where moms and dads can raise their children in their faith to become good young people who believe the things that I do. That is what I'm trying to create, is the space for you, of course, to raise your children as you see fit, but the space for me to raise my kids to be the kind of young people that I think they ought to be. And the other thing that I take from it, Mercedes, is if you look at the long history of the Christian faith, we've been around for about 2,000 years now, give or take a few years, and there have been really dark times in the history of the Christian faith. There have been really good times in the history of the Christian faith. And I just try to remind myself that we put our faith in God above, we put our faith in the grace of God, and we try the best to do His will, and we don't worry so much about whether we're going to have earthly rewards. We worry about whether we're doing right by God Almighty above. That's what I try to do, and that's how I try to run my life in public.
Wow. Do you understand how powerful that statement is? JD gets it. It's not about this life. It's about the life we leave behind us and what we'll do in the future. If you live as if you'll never die, which I believe, I'm not afraid of death. Okay. If you live like that, you can do greater things. Okay. Think of all the great leaders in history. Okay. It's like so many of them didn't fear death for whatever reason. Some of them were crazy, but when you don't fear that, and when you live for what's right versus earthly rewards, and there's the other thing, it's just like, like we just talked about with children. Children are not about having an earthly reward. They're about leaving a legacy. They're about obeying God's will for you and His commands for you, because He knows what's better for us than we do. That's the only way to achieve true joy, It doesn't matter if you have $1 billion and own an island and can travel all the time and do whatever you want. You will eventually not be fulfilled. But if you want to live a life without regrets, you do what's right and you live boldly and you live without excuses. And then on your deathbed, you won't fear it. You know, when people die, no one ever says, I wish I made more money. They always say, I wish I had done more with my time, spent more time with family, with friends, traveled, that kind of thing, left more of a legacy. That's what people regret. And JD gets it. And because he gets it, guys, the other thing is when you don't fear death, you're fearless. You're fearless and you're led by, you don't have fear of man. And when you don't have fear of man, you're able to do incredible things. Trump is not afraid of death. The man took a bullet, got up, said, fight, 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 almost took a bullet again, went back golfing. No fear of death and no fear of man either. I mean, you can't say anything to Trump that scares him. That is the most power you can have as a person, is no fear of man, no fear of death. And the only way you can get there is to have a fear of God or be a psychopath. Like, you can have no fear of anything and be crazy, but obviously you're not going to be much help there. But you can be, the only way to truly be the best of the best is to be this. And here's the thing, we've lived under so many leaders in our lifetimes who were afraid of man and what they were thought of and what they were doing, and lived selfishly and were living for earthly treasures, and had no fear of God. And you see where it got us. This is why our nation's changing, guys. And this is why I believe God is behind all of this. And it's also why I don't believe, to my Christian friends out there who believe that this is somehow the Antichrist or the beginning of the end, and they're ushering the end, and Trump is part of the techno-babble Antichrist. God, get over yourselves. This is an administration that loves God and is fearing him and is bringing good things. And God put them in place so that we can have a wonderful future left to our kids and their kids. As it says, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. And that's what we're getting out of this. And so JD gets it. And I'm so excited to see this. Brett says, a true statement. I'm basically a holiday Catholic. I don't remember who said it. They say our country strayed from God and that it has a ring of truth. A ring of truth. I would say that is the truth, but you're right. Gerald says, I wanted a child ever since I saw the movie. Look who's talking. I'm still working on it. I love that. I love that. JR says, Vance is Trump with absolutely nothing negative to say about him, and a blue collar pedigree and story. Unbeatable. I agree. I think he's absolutely just the perfect situation. Do we fix the glitch? That's hilarious. Yeah, Johnny, see, there you go. You work from home, have twin boys. I love it. It's so good. All right, I got to keep moving. I'm going to move fast through some other stuff because there's more news I wanted to just cover, but it's already getting late. A judge came through today, said the Trump administration can move ahead on the government layoffs. So huge win there. We're going to be cutting a lot of fat, and that's wonderful. Thomas asks, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, thought money didn't matter. Thomas, you're misreading me. I never said money doesn't matter. I said it matters less. It shouldn't be the number one thing. You don't serve money, but of course money matters. You have to have money to transact. Okay, so you don't misread what I say. I said it doesn't matter when you're factoring in what's right. You do what's right even if you don't have the money. That's always comes, and God will bless you for it with sometimes money. So that's what it comes down to. I agree with Jim. Yeah, we need more people working with their hands. I agree. Thank you. Brett reminds me to say like and subscribe. I appreciate that, Brett. Thank you. Like and subscribe, guys, if you're enjoying this show. This is, I feel, you guys can let me know in the chat. I feel like my show's unique. I cover the news. I offer advice, sometimes good, sometimes bad, sometimes very disagreed with. But I'm always honest and I'm always genuine, and I always know the community matters, and I put the community as make sure it's part of the show. So that's what makes us different here. And so Just remember that. And if you like it, please subscribe. Mike, you're right. And Johnny says it too. Inheritance is far more than money. Inheritance is a name, it's a legacy, it's values, it's a lot. It's a lot more than money. And you're 100% right on that, guys. I couldn't agree more. Thank you, Mark R. Appreciate that. Oh, Brett says, mention the membership perks. Yes, thank you. So yeah, if you're a member, guys, you get at least 3 to 4 extra live shows a month where we deep dive stuff, have some fun, go into crazy places, or just talk about something specific that I don't feel is right for the main show. So you get to be a part of that, and you also get to be part of the community of members here. And you can join the Discord as well, which is 24/7, talking about stocks, current events, all that good stuff. And yeah, it's really good, and it's only $3 a month if you want to join and support the show. So thank you for that, Brett. All right, let's keep moving. Zelensky today in a meeting said he's ready to move forward with an agreement to provide security guarantees that Trump's asking for with the rare earth materials. So we might actually get something back for our billion sent to Ukraine. This also tells me that we're getting really close to a peace deal. Hegseth today said the DOD, this is before Doge has even been in the Pentagon. This is just with what Hegseth has been doing in the last 2 weeks, already found 55,000 employees that he believes could be fired. 55,000 employees. Let's say, I love doing the calculations on these savings. So 55,000, and let's say their average salary is probably 100,000 plus a benefits package that's worth probably about 35,000 with healthcare. Government healthcare is very generous. So let's say 55,000 times 135,000. That, my friends, is a savings of $7.4 billion. And that's just before they even get into the fraud. So it's amazing. People scoff at this stuff. They're like, 7 billion is like 0.01% of the budget. That doesn't matter, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it all adds up. It all adds up. And when you do it all together, it's like being the voice in the wilderness, that gets stuff done. Your voice might not be heard that much on its own, but when coupled with others, it matters. And so we keep doing this stuff, and it means it ends up being a big deal. Tom says, abolish CPS and trafficking. Oh man, don't get me started on CPS. It is terrible. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know what else to do when they're in these kids are in terrible situations with parents. So, but yeah, that's a subject for another time. All right. We got to watch this. This is Stephen Miller just nuking the press. And this is well worth the watch.
It is true that many of the people in this room for 4 years failed to cover the fact that Joe Biden was mentally incompetent and was not running the country. It is also true that many people in this room who have used this talking point that Elon is not elected fail to understand how government works. So I'm glad for the opportunity for a brief civics lesson. A president is elected by the whole American people. He's the only official in the entire government that is elected by the entire nation, right? Judges are appointed, members of Congress are elected at the district or state level, which is one man. And the Constitution, Article 2, has a clause known as the vesting clause, and it says the executive power shall be vested in a president, singular. The whole will of democracy is imbued into the elected president. That president then appoints staff to then impose that democratic will onto the government. The threat to democracy, indeed the existential threat to democracy, is the unelected bureaucracy of lifetime tenured civil servants who believe they answer to no one, who believe they can do whatever they want without consequence, who believe they can set their own agenda no matter what Americans vote for. So Americans vote for radical FBI reform, and FBI agents say they don't want to change. Or Americans vote for radical reform on our energy policies, but EPA bureaucrats say they don't want to change. Or Americans vote to end DEI, racist DEI policies, and lawyers in the Department of Justice say they don't want to change. What President Trump is doing is he is removing federal bureaucrats who are defying democracy by failing to implement his lawful orders, which are the will of the whole American people.
Whoa. Can somebody say, boom goes the dynamite? Holy smokes. That is like fire. He just took every stinking argument against Elon not being democratically elected or Doge, all that. And he just wiped the floor with it and dropped it and blew it away. I mean, that is an amazing breakdown that he did, a minute and a half explain that. And honestly, anybody who brings those things up to you, just show them that clip, because that was powerful. Country member for 19 months, bro. I didn't realize you've been around that long. That's awesome. It says only $3 a month, you get Discord access. Thank you, sir. Yeah, Stephen Miller is great. He's genius. Jim Boswell says government has 3.3 million employees and only 6% show up at work every day. Oh my God. Is it that bad? I haven't seen that number. That's insane. Speaking of our government getting smaller, though, the momentum is really, like, they are being very outspoken now about this whole income tax and abolishing IRS thing. So here's a clip that came out today, and it's just, I'm going to show you a couple more things, but this momentum is really here, and it shows me they're seeding the narrative now so that it's getting out to the people. So the people it's so smart how Trump does this stuff, and his team, but they're seeding this narrative, and you keep doing this. Eventually the people get so open to it that Congress has to pay attention. And this is how you make drastic change in a nation. But the fact that they just keep coming out with this income tax IRS narrative tells me they really have their eyes set on it.
President Trump has spoken about replacing income tax with tariff revenue, especially with all this waste, fraud, and abuse that we're seeing cut. Is that a possibility?
Absolutely. And in fact, if you think about the China tariff revenue that we're estimating is coming in from the 10% that we just added, plus the de minimis thing, that it's between $500 billion and $1 trillion over 10 years is our estimate. And that's something that is outside of the reductions that markets are seeing through the negotiations up on the Hill. And so we expect that the tariff revenue is actually going to make it much easier for Republicans to pass a bill. And that was the president's plan all along.
You hear that? That's big. The tariff plan all along is to try to get rid of the IRS and the federal income tax. Very interesting stuff. And then Trump added to it today with this.
And he said, and that price should be more than fair. It should be high, because what they do is they hurt our country. And we became very rich. He was assassinated. And as you know, Roosevelt took over, Teddy, and he spent money on parks and on dams and on everything. I mean, but he really spent a lot of the money. McKinley never got the credit, but he spent a lot of the money that McKinley made. But it was the richest we ever were in the 1800s, early 1900s. And then in 1913, we went to the income tax system. And to be honest, we did fine, but we were never like we were. They formed the tariff.
You hear how he says that? He got all excited, but he says it sarcastically. He says, we were fine, but we were never like we were. That's a big statement.
Commission of 1887. And it was a commission of people like you, blue bloods. Are you blue bloods? A couple, and about 3 of them over here. But blue bloods. But it was a commission, and it was set up for the sole purpose of, we have so much money. This is in the United States. We don't know. We had no debt. We had no nothing. We had massive amounts of money. The commission was set up to determine where we should spend our money. Where do we spend it? Got so much. Can you imagine? Wouldn't that be nice? Now look at what they're doing, but this is money we have to borrow where they're doing it.
So Trump has told this story a few times about we had so much money we didn't know what to do with it. We were the most prosperous we'd ever been. He keeps telling this story. And he's not backtracking. Again, he could have ditched this after he won the election. So I'm getting excited. And then Howard Lutnick was just made Commerce Secretary. And Lutnick is a huge proponent of crypto, decentralization, and getting rid of central banks and the income tax. And he's out there. First of all, he's been saying, get rid of the income tax, but now he's out there saying, get ready. I'm not going to play this whole clip because it's 6 minutes long, but I shared it so you guys can watch it on my X feed. He says, get ready. Your tax rates, interest rates, and mortgage rates are going to come hammering down. Keyword, hammering down. In other words, fast. So I don't know what the Trump whole plan is, but I have a feeling they have something up their sleeve that they're planning on getting done. Pretty exciting stuff, honestly, because I don't know, but they keep stunning us with what they've been able to do and how fast they're moving. And it tells me that I think they're going to over deliver. I really do. Hero says, junk the IRS and Fed. I agree. 93 likes. We could get to 100 soon. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Appreciate it, guys. Automag says, over 10 years, we probably need $1 trillion every year to abolish medium to high income tax balance budget. It means to be more than $2 trillion. I agree, Otto. That number was specifically just from the China tariff is what he was talking about. He was not talking about all tariffs combined. So just that 10% China tariff, they're expecting it to be 500. So that's 50 to 100 billion a year. And that's just one nation. That was the point he was making there. Brett says it's amazing what's been accomplished in a little over a month. Amen. Terror attack in Israel, that's not good. I'll keep an eye on that. Listen for it. All right. And speaking of what's going on with our finances in this nation, here's Trump, the latest on this Fort Knox thing that's going on.
And I'm going to do something. I'm actually going on this one. You know, all my life I've heard about Fort Knox. That's where the gold is kept, right? I heard Fort Knox. Oh, but you know, we're getting a little bit shaky. We're getting the yips on this stuff. Like, I want to find out. So we're going to open up the doors. I'm going to see if we have gold there. We want to find out. Did anybody steal the gold in Fort Knox? It's a pretty amazing place, but I'm going to actually go. We're going to open the doors. We're going to inspect Fort Knox. We want to make sure that we actually have, 400 tons of gold or whatever the hell it is. It's a lot of gold. I don't want to open it and the cupboards are bare. Could happen. And I'm going to.
You hear him? It could happen. Is Trump trying to tell us that he knows there's no gold there? That would be pretty shocking. On the other hand, we've been importing a ton of gold from England the last few days, which is very interesting as well, because they're not being able to deliver the gold out fast, which makes me think maybe they don't have their gold either. Who knows, guys? This Fort Knox thing is going to be crazy. One way or the other, if they go in there, find there's no gold, I think they kind of already know. It's going to create an exposure. It will rattle markets, that's for sure. But if we find the gold and it's there, and then we revalue it, that also is going to get very interesting, because currently it's valued. The gold in Fort Knox at 4,800 tons is only valued at $42 an ounce. And the last time they did that was 1973. So very crazy things coming. Yeah, Jim, you're absolutely right. Yeah, all kinds of usury laws, and our country is built on usury right now, and we got to undo it. I agree with you completely. Brett says, got a real bad headache from the left. The only prescription is more cowbell. Oh my God. You bring it, Brett. You bring it. There's a correspondent from X in the press room. That's awesome. Danny Gigal says, really hope Doge can allocate time to these horrible state departments. Pennsylvania so bad. Maybe but the thing is, I think the states actually have to choose it. So I wouldn't bet on Shapiro letting them in. I don't think the federal government, unless it's about federal dollars, can supersede a state's authority in that. I think that's the 10th Amendment won't allow that. Yeah, Eisenhower did the last audit. Oh, okay. I thought it was in the 70s. So it was in the 50s they did the last audit? Wow. I thought they did it in 71 for Nixon, but I could be wrong. Could be wrong. Yeah, I remember Al Capone's vault. Story of the bomb at the Kennedy Center. I didn't even hear it. There's so much news. I can't even keep up with all those. I didn't hear about a bomb at Kennedy Center. All right, I got a couple more things here, guys, and then we're gonna have to go because it's getting late. My wife just got home. I want to see her. All right. So just this is a watch on the economy. Seeing a credit-like Swiss collapse is looming in Japan. There's no good, easy, inexpensive way to clean up the mess. Japan's second largest bank, Norinchukin, has a liquidity crisis. It makes it a lot harder to hide its losses. This could affect the carry trade. If this is happening in Japan and this starts spreading, it'll spread to us. So, I've already been saying things are going to get bad here soon because we have to go through a correction in our economy. This could be the black swan. So metrics for the third quarter of 2024. I think here doesn't have the numbers, but anyways, read this article. I shared it on my X feed. It's pretty wild. I think they had 12 billion in losses for last year. So completely unsustainable. Somebody dug up this very interesting tweet from Trump from 2019. Says the press has never been more dishonest than today. Stories are written have absolutely no basis in fact. They're totally out of control. I kept many of them in business. In 6 years, they all go bust. Now, 6 years is this month. This is now 6 years from this tweet to the day. That's really interesting. I don't know if it means anything, if Trump was trying to tell us something, or if it's just going to be kind of coincidental, like he was making a prediction they'll all go. But think about how many media companies have gone bust in the last 6 years. Pretty prescient. So pretty crazy stuff there. Big B says, why are they importing gold from England? I don't quite understand it. I think it's because they're expecting a liquidity crisis here soon. I think they are. I think they're preparing for something. Yeah. Alan, you hope they test each brick of gold? Yeah, they probably should, huh? All right. Last, I want to just leave it on a couple awesome things about our hockey team. This just made me laugh.
He looks forward to watching the game tonight, and we look forward to the United States beating our soon-to-be 51st state, Canada.
Our soon-to-be 51st state, Canada. God, I love this administration so much. You can just tell they're having fun. They're having fun, and the winning, and like, we just need to have fun too. Joy is back. Joy is truly back in our country. I love it. And then at the beginning of this game, I mean, patriotism's back too, guys. This is at the beginning of the USA hockey game tonight. And USA. We're so back, guys. We're so back. It's awesome. It makes me so happy. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and there was still patriotism then. And it was still cool to love your country and all that. But obviously, we still have a lot of issues that are even getting fixed right now. It's taken this long. But we're getting back. We're getting back, and I'm loving every second of it. So anyways, guys, on that note, I'm going to finish up. Let's call it a night. Please like, share, subscribe. If you enjoyed this, if you want to support the channel, please think about being a member for $3 a month and get all the member benefits with that, including getting in our Discord chat. I had a members live last night you could check out as well. But love you guys. Appreciate you. So much good's happening. It's such an exciting time to be alive. So let's have a prayer and let's get out of here. Oh, is it 2-2 right now? Okay, let's go USA. Let's win this game. All right. Heavenly Father, thank you for today. God, thank you for KASH Patel getting in. That's incredible. And just for all the justice being brought back to our nation. And Lord, I just thank you. We have true leaders back in our nation as well, as we saw tonight. And so, Lord, I just bless everybody in this chat and our community out there. And just thank you again. Just pray that going forward, things just really are. We're really in a season of better than can be expected. And just like I said on last night's Member Live, I truly believe it's a year of vindication as the beginning of a long, prosperous time coming to our nation. So thank you for everybody here. God bless them in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Bless you guys. Have a wonderful night. Thank you again for supporting. Please like and subscribe. And I will see you all soon. Take care.